definitely depressed, definitely angry, and then he explains why. Okay? Now, remember that when you paraphrase something, what you're doing is that you're communicating exactly what is on the book, but in your own words. Okay? You're not saying, oh, Hamlet said that, blah, blah, blah. You're not doing that. You're just paraphrasing exactly what's already in the text. Does that make sense? Okay. That is your paraphrasing. Now, in the first line, he says, this is line 129. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve into a dew. What does that mean? He's obviously using a metaphor, kind of, but what does that mean?
That he wants to
That he wants to die.
Yeah, he wants to die. He wants to disappear. Okay? That his flesh would melt and just turn into dew, disappear. Okay? Evaporate. He does not want to be here in this situation. Okay? Then he says, or that the everlasting had not fixed his canon against self-slaughter. So canon here is not canon like shooting, it's canon like the law. Okay, so what does that line mean?
everlasting is supposed to be God or the law?
God.
God.
Exactly.
Yes.
But because it has like uppercase also.
Yeah, so it is a capitalized word. The everlasting does have the meaning, or it's another word to refer to God. Okay, so he's saying that God, I wish that God had not made it a sin to commit suicide. Okay, so again, reflection of the religious ideas that they had during this period of time. Then he says, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. What does that mean?
That he sees no reason in living.
He sees no reason in being alive anymore and being in the earth. Alive.
Okay. Very good. So exactly as you guys are saying, he's like, yeah, I don't see any use in any of it. Okay, I don't see any profit. I don't see any benefit of participating in this, in participating in court, in being the prince, or any of these worldly things. They don't matter to me. Then he says, "Fie on it, fie." And this is, I am not 100% certain, but it seems like when he says "fie," that's kind of like their version of an F word in that time. So he's like, just screw all of this, right? And then he says, "This an unweeded garden that grows the seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely." Okay, so he says, look, everything that's here is terrible. It sucks. It's damaged. And anything that will come from it will also be terrible. Okay, will be the worst. Will just be seeds of destruction. Then he says that it should come to this. And now he explains finally to the audience what is happening and why he feels this way. This is the first time that we see it. Okay? He says that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much as 2, so excellent a king that was to this king, like this other guy, Hyperion to a satyr. So he compares his father to, a godly figure, very good-looking, strong, intelligent, etc. And from Greek mythology, we know that the satyrs were what?
A beast.
Yeah.
The book
They
says,
what?
the book says that it was a mythical creature, half man and half goat, associated with lechery.
Yeah, very terrible creatures. Horrible.
Exactly. So the satyrs were like beasts. They were not civilized. They were associated with lechery, which is what Hamlet now is thinking. Like, you know, this guy just wants to be with my mom. Like, he probably doesn't really love her like that. He's just, you know, keeping her happy in that way so that he can have access to power. Whereas my dad really loved her. So then he says, so loving to my mother that he might not between the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. He loved my mother so much that he wouldn't even want the wind to blow on her too hard. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. So he's like, you know, wishing to the world, like, do I really, why do I have to remember this? This is so difficult. You know, like how is it possible that she's behaving this way when before she would be on him as if the more that she was with him, the more she wanted to continue that or increase the time that they spent together. And then, okay, we look into a little bit of the stuff that might be a little bit anti-feminist. So, you know, excuse guys for the views of the time. But then he starts to insult women in the context of like the actions that his mom is taking. So that's in the moment that he says, and yet within a month, wow, let me not think of this. Frailty, thy name is woman. So now he is giving this quality of being frail, of being weak to all women based on the actions of his mother. Like how could you be this person? Right? So we know the feeling that he has towards her at this moment. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body. So he's like, look, only a month went by. The shoes with which she attended the funeral didn't even have a chance to get old. Like Niobe, all tears. Why, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. So, he's like, look, the shoes that she wore to the funeral didn't even get old. She was crying all during the funeral, and before a month, she married my uncle, my father's brother, but they're nothing alike. Okay? I am more alike to Hercules than this guy is similar to my father. And then he says, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason. So further insult. He's like, look, even an animal that, you know, that doesn't have intelligent thought would have probably mourned or been sad for longer than what my mom was for the death of my father. Okay, so by just looking at the insults that he's using, we can see how deeply he is hurt by what's happening right now. I have like 4 more minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So then, he says, within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. So again with the same theme of wow, within a month, like only a month, before the salt that left her eyes had even had chance to dry or get cleaned up. Boom, she's married again. Oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to ancestral sheets. So now, again, another thing that he's upset about. He's like, wow. And she would so fast leave my father behind to go now and commit incest by laying in bed with my uncle, my father's brother. Okay? It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Okay, so again, he's saying, and this gives us the knowledge of the beliefs of the time. He's like, look, this cannot be good, and nothing good can result from it. Okay, according to the Christian beliefs, or the beliefs in the world in general, we're like kind of like karma or anything like that, where you can't get a good result out of bad actions, right? Okay, and then he tells us, well, what's going to be a running theme during the plague. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. So I'm going to continue being heartbroken because I can't tell anyone how I really feel. Okay? So that is what I did just there. That is the way that you want to approach paraphrasing. You want to translate literally what the character is saying, word by word, into your own words, into modern language. Okay, line by line, you are not allowed to skip or leave out anything, thinking, oh, well, this is not important, or like, oh, this is self-explanatory. No, you need to, line by line, every single part, okay, translate it into your own words. And that would be a complete paraphrase. I'm going to stop the recording at this point.